Infectious diseases are not limited to malaria, typhoid, and cholera. It also includes HIV/AIDS. Some argue it is not a disease because it does not kill its host or victim. It just makes the victim prone to infections. But let's not forget a disease is or might be a particular physiological state that is incompatible with the proper functioning of an organism. HIV, Human Immunodeficiency Virus, a strain of the virus Simian Immunodeficiency Virus (SIV), found in Congolese chimpanzees crossed over to humans. This was through sacrificing chimpanzees' kidney to make live cultures for polio vaccines. The chimpanzees' kidney cells were known to divide faster and were also cheaper than monkey and synthetic vectors. However, these kidney cells were infected with SIV, which when introduced to a human transforms into HIV. This virus, once in a human, is transferred from one person to the other through contact involving blood such as unprotected sex, blood transfusion from an infected person, and transfer from a mother to a fetus, and also using a needle an infected person has already used. When HIV becomes full-blown AIDS, it makes its victims susceptible to opportunities such as tuberculosis, common cold, malaria, typhoid, etc. Studies have shown that there is a high correlation between HIV and tuberculosis. People living with HIV have compromised immune systems, which tuberculosis makes it more difficult for them to fight the infection. In areas where HIV is prevalent, tuberculosis infection is rampant. Also, in these countries where HIV is common, infectious diseases are also common due to current rise in temperature that makes the environment favorable for microbes that cause the disease to survive. Based on this, we can argue that the rise in temperature and other climate changes due to rise of CO2 in the atmosphere has influenced the spread of AIDS. In developed countries like the US, it is easier to combat TB due to the low amount of people infected with the disease, unlike the third world countries in Africa, where the amount of people infected with this disease is so high that it is almost impossible to effectively conquer it. But with the current changes in the climate around the world, who knows what the fate of these first world countries would be. The story is said of two birds building a nest on a tree over a river. The nest falls into the river, but they don't give up. They start to build a new one. So the question is not giving up the important thing or building the nest on a stable part of the tree so it doesn't fall again? In other words, prevention is better than cure. It is better to have prevented the disease than to become infected with it and then try to find a cure. Despite the invention of new drugs to inhibit this virus from progressing to AIDS, the rate of infection is still on the rise.
HIV/AIDS is not just a common infection, it is a global epidemic. 33 million people and counting are already affected, and an average of 2.8 million people are affected every year. In 2009 alone, it claimed the lives of 1.8 million people around the world, and with the increasing rate of infection, who knows what the number will be in the next decade. For every one person receiving treatment, there are 10 people infected. The birth rate is almost equal to the death rate in countries heavily affected by HIV. Statistics shows that in South Africa, the birth rate per thousand is 17.09, while the death rate is 19.48 in the year 2011. But in the year 2000, the birth rate was 22.56, whilst the death rate was 14.69 per thousand. This shows that gradually the birth rate and the death rate are coming into equilibrium, and possibly the death rate exceeding the birth rate in the near future, which can further lead to extinction. HIV targets mostly the youth, which can lead to a world population pyramid with an hourglass shape. Loss of the youth leads to loss of the workforce, which can further lead to a decrease in the reproduction success of a population. HIV is the third and fourth leading cause of death of people aged 15 to 65 in third and second world countries respectively. And these people are the major workforce needed to boost the economy and the survival of the world. And if they are being wiped out now by this disease, the future of the world looks grim. Also, increase of HIV in sub-Saharan Africa is leading to the overuse of land, which includes the forest. In the next decade, due to overcultivation of these virgin lands, there will be no conservation for our children to witness the beauty of nature. Also, there will be less trees to serve as sinks for all the carbon dioxide in the environment.